Hey, everybody.
Welcome to Latino Talk TV. I'm your host, Ben Mendez, joined by Mr. Javier Perez, my co-host. Today, we're going to talk to a Houston Oiler from back in the day.
And you know what? We have a special surprise for him, Ben.
That's right. Don't we have the song?
You know, I don't know. Let's see. Do we got anything back there, Enrique?
The Love You Blue song?
Oh,
Do we have it?
No.
We don't have it.
Don't have it? Oh, man.
Look out. Go way back.
Here we go.
Oh, we should. At least Karl Marx not here to sing. That would be horrible right there.
The greatest football team.
It's been a
We
long
take
time
the
since
ball
I heard
from
that
I
song.
goal
tell
to
you,
goal
Mike,
like
and
no one's
while
ever
those things
seen.
played, I mean,
We're in
you
the
don't,
air,
I mean,
we're on the
you have no
ground,
idea how many
always
people
in
live and died with you
control.
guys.
And when
The
you
Love You
say
Blue days.
the
I mean, you guys were our warriors out there.
Let me tell you a true story about that song.
Okay.
The players, we got so sick of hearing it over and over. The Houston Oilers, you know, just shut up and go away, you know. And I'm headed out south on 59 one day, and there's a hitchhiker. And I never pick up hitchhikers, but for whatever reason, I found myself pulled over, and I pick up this dude, you know. He recognizes me immediately.
Really?
And he goes, Mike, he says, you know, I write songs, and I wrote a song that you know very well. I said, I doubt that because I don't really listen to a lot of music and learn songs. He goes, oh, you know this one. He said, I wrote it. I said, oh, okay, what's that? He starts singing this song. I said, you wrote that song? I stopped my truck, made him get out. I said, ain't no more. You know? And I did. I drove off, and then I pulled up, and then I backed up and said, come on. I said, but I really didn't want to pick you up after you told me that. Of all the people, you know. And that's a true story.
Wow.
And so along with Mr. Mike, we have Brandon, his son.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk a little bit about what they're doing nowadays. How long has it been since you've been a Houston Oiler?
Well, let's see. I played from 76 to 82.
Yeah.
And then from 82 through 85 with the Rams. And so it's been a long
34
time.
years.
Long time
That's a
ago.
long time.
Yeah, I tell you, he was, I mean, he
So
was
that was
in the middle
before I
of,
was born.
He was like, yeah, right, Ben.
I'm so old
Man, you're-
now, I could play at halftime and not score. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about your past days as a Houston Oiler before we get into what you're doing now. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about your experience as a professional. What do you like most about what you did, and what are some of the things that people don't know about you?
Well, we were nothing but kids. That's all we were, you know. And there was no more fun place than in the field house because we was always playing tricks on each other. And I was real big into that, you know. I mean, I killed a big, huge, I shouldn't be probably admitting this on TV. I might get arrested here, but I killed a big 8-foot-plus gator one time, and I put it in the dressing room. In the meeting room, I remember. And all the blacks sit on one side, and all the whites sit on the other side. And it was not a racial thing. It's just we were a close team, and we didn't care about the color of the skin and how we talked to each other. But I put the head of that alligator right where Earl Campbell sat, and our offensive tackle, Motown, sat. And now Motown was 6'6", 6'7", 280 pounds. And all you'd have to do is walk up to him and go, boo, and Mo would jump 10 feet. And I got a big stick and stuck it up in the throat of that alligator. And I had it covered up with all towels. Me and Mike Stensrud called him Mongo. And anyhow, covered up the alligator. And here comes all the players, and they all call me Barbs. Hey, Barbs, what are you doing now? I said, I got something for the coach. Don't worry about it. Well, anyhow, it came time, you know, and I raised my hand. I said, Coach, I got something to present to you. And I mean, long story short, I ripped those towels off, and I kicked that alligator to make it move a little bit. And I mean, and all of a sudden, the whole team was white. There was no black on the team. And all of them was out the door. And Motels didn't practice that day. Earl didn't practice that day. It scared them, and that's some of the fun stuff that I'll remember, you know. But yet I'll remember in the huddle against New England, we're down by at least 3 touchdowns. We come out the second half, because matter of fact, national game, playoff game, and the announcer says they're going to go to another game if the game doesn't get closer. I remember us grabbing hands and say, let's just do it. And we did it. And of course, we came back and
I think I remember that game.
Won those games, you know. And of course, the hat bands, you know, I made the hat bands and, you know, and had Bum wear it, and all the players wore it. And I forgot what network was covering it. And I got him a cowboy hat because they were going to interview me as soon as I got off the plane. And I put a cowboy hat on him with one of my hat bands. And all of a sudden, the announcer, Charlie Joyner, I think's his name, he wore it the entire game. And the rest was so all of a sudden, Mike Barber hat bands are all over the country into about 700 stores. And, you know, just some great times. We had the greatest fans in the world. Yeah. We truly had the greatest fans in the world. And I mean, what other team in the history of the game got beat by them stinking old Steelers? I hate them people. I'm still under construction. You know, God's not through with me yet.
Yeah.
I just hate, you know,
Was
Lambert. Remember Lambert?
Was Too Tall Jones part of that?
I remember Lambert.
That team that you played against? Too Tall Jones?
Well,
Too Tall was on the
Cowboys, yeah.
The Cowboys.
But Lambert, you know, you know, he was so ugly as a kid. He had to trick or treat by telephone. The man was so ugly, you know. And but they robbed us and they just beat us. Still, we come back to the Dome, and you were probably there, knowing you. Yeah. But thousands of people.
You know, and that's probably one of the main reasons that instant replay came around. Was that
it
one
was.
game?
It was
that
with
game.
You know, Mike Renfro. I talked to him today. He was in the end zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe Green. He hit me one time so hard that I'm on the ground and I'm yelling, I'm blind, I'm blind, I'm blind, and my teammates came over there and picked me up and he straightened my helmet up. Yeah.
I can't see.
That's it.
Was Tom Landry around back then?
Oh, yeah. He was the coach for the Cowboys. And, you know, just say the word Tom Landry and he's a
That
legend.
brings out a great story that Brandon told me. Brandon, tell that story about what Staubach. One game came and told your dad.
Yeah, he tells it great. I remember one time they were playing the Cowboys, and he was known as kind of a tough guy in the NFL, right? Like, and so you were kind of known to get in just a few little fights, didn't you?
Right.
And so just a couple. and he said one pregame they were at Cowboy Stadium, and Roger Staubach came over into the locker room and showed in the game plan that Tom Landry wrote, "Don't get in a fight with Mike Barber. Whatever you do, don't get in a fight with Mike Barber," because they knew better. And true story.
Roger and I were good friends, and he came over. I said, "Dodger, what are you doing here?" He said, "I want to show you something." He showed me the bottom of the game plan. He said, "This time," he said, "don't let number 86 Mike Barber get you in a fight and get you ejected out of the game." You know? And so he said, "Behave yourself."
I tell you, Mike, I think that just goes to your tenacity. I mean, you were just 100% all the time.
Well, you know,
and everything you do.
Like Bum said, he doesn't dance good, but he'll dance every dance. You know?
I think
that's a good one.
I think that probably leads us out where we are today. You know, Mike, I know you found the Lord.
Yeah.
And you started your own ministry. You know, I know you've had a prison ministry. I know people have seen it. If you watch late night television, you'll see Mike Barber's prison ministry in there every now and then.
You know, I was studying to be a coach. I wanted to go right into coaching after I got through playing. But I had a real neat encounter. You know, I've caught a lot of football with these hands, but my greatest catch was I came in one time about 2 a.m. in the morning, and, you know, I love to tell jokes. I love to laugh and cut up. And I came in from a party, didn't drink, didn't do drugs, and but I had a lot of fun. And anyhow, long story short, I was running. I knew better. I grew up knowing better. But I just let things really get to me, and the hell with God. And, you know, I was a bouncer in 2 different places here in Houston all the time. And finally I realized, you know, there is a heaven and there is a hell. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to be religious because I'm not religious. I'm still under construction. You know, I had a guy on death row in Florence, Arizona one time, walked up to me right in my face, and he says, "You blankety, blankety, blanky, when I haul off and hit you, you're going to turn the other cheek." And I got even closer to him, and I said, "Go for it. I've not read that far in the Bible yet." Yeah, he's my buddy. He's my best friend. My son knows, far from perfect. But I do love God, and I take it with tenacity. I'm not a Secret Service Christian. And I yelled and screamed on the football field over a dumb pigskin. And if I can't yell and scream and lift my hands and get excited for a man that forgave me of all my stupidity and still does to this day, I'm going to be a voice for him, not an echo.
Yeah. You know what? And you know that brings us to Pastor Brandon Barber here, a person I've got to know very, very well the last probably the last 6 months.
Yeah,
I hate to hear that.
I know, man. It's
Brandon was a upcoming athlete, a quarterback in college, and
Which college?
Followed his footsteps a little bit in Louisiana Tech, and then from there followed.
I didn't know they had a football team over there.
I know, right? In Louisiana.
The Bomber.
That's the Coug.
Yeah,
That's the Coug in him
that's
talking.
it.
That's right. He used Q-tip. He has no hair on his head.
We were there and then went up into the Arkansas area and played some ball there. So
Okay.
yeah, so I loved it. I tell you, I grew up an Oiler fan, obviously, and I grew up hating the Steelers. And I tell you what, I married my wife from Arkansas, and her family's a diehard Steeler family.
Really?
So I was actually more nervous telling Dad I'm marrying a Steeler family than I was asking her dad for the hand of marriage. You know, so we grew up pretty diehard, and we absolutely love it. I will tell you that we had a blast. Grew up playing sports. In high school, he was my head coach. I was his quarterback, and we had a lot of fun.
You got to share the story. So
Yeah,
where
yeah.
did you go to high school?
We went to school in the Dallas area, and it was a private school there called Grace Prep Academy, and won a few championships. Had a lot of fun. Dad was very successful. Helped send a lot of kids into college, and it was an absolute blast. Getting a father-son tag team. I tell you what, he was so good at. He was great at not taking what happened on the football field and bringing it home. He knew how to keep that separated, but he did take what I did at home and he brought it to the field. And so it is true, man. But we since the beginning, Dad and I have always just had an awesome father-son tag team. And I tell you what, man, if I can be half the man he is someday, I'll be a great man. And seeing his integrity of who he is, not just on the field, but now what we like to call the game of life. And the playbook that he played to play for the Oilers is now his playbook is now the Bible. And he's shown me how to play that playbook and how to win in the game of life. And it's an honor just to tag team with each other, seeing the years of prison ministry. I grew up basically a missionary kid to the mission field of prison when Dad has been doing it now for almost 35 years. And we've been in and out of prison our entire lives. And so we've been having a blast. And I'll tell you what prison ministry will do that I've learned from this great man right here is it'll cause you to love a person, not for what they've done or where they've been, but love them where they are to help them get to where they're going. And through that is where really the birth and the idea of getting the honor to launch our church, Elevate Church, which we get the privilege to hang out and meet there every Sunday at TBH.
Elevate Church has been in the East End now for about 6 months.
Yeah.
About right. But it's going on 7 months.
What time do you have your mass?
We meet every Sunday morning right at the TBH Center, which honored there. We have a 10 a.m. service and a 12 noon service. And so those who like to sleep in and those who like to go to church early.
It's non-denominational, right?
You keep on mentioning a prison ministry. I mean,
but that's what they do.
Is that separate and apart from TBH?
Yeah,
okay.
prison ministry.
It's an extension of the church.
Yeah, prison ministry is what my father runs.
Okay.
And me and my wife, Kristen, we run a church that is this non-denominational, multi-ethnic, multiracial, and we just come together. We have a lot of fun. If you love going to sports games, we have a culture at Elevate Church.
Yeah.
If you love Jesus, food, or sports, you're going to like our church. And so we just have fun, the energy in worship, the energy with the people. And the biggest thing is we want you to know if people are looking for a home to where you can come as you are, we want you to come as you are, and we want to help love you back to where you need to be, man. We have families, we have childcare available, we have everything that you need, and we're just a place that if people are hurting, we want to help give them a little bit of hope that they can make it.
A great facility, thanks to that man.
That's right.
And I tell you, man, I've never seen such a dedicated group of volunteers. I mean, because they transform the TBH center into a. It looks like a church to me. I mean, from the minute you walk in that place, you feel welcome. You know.
Just so you know, I have a lot of roots at TBH, but I had no idea there was a church there. That's the first time I'm hearing this.
Yeah.
Man, where you been?
Didn't know. Did not know.
But now you know.
Now you know. And it's,
So let's backtrack a little bit,
Yeah.
because you didn't tell me how you got into this.
Prison ministry. A friend of mine invited me to go, and I put him off for a year and a half. I didn't care. And finally, to get him off my back because he wouldn't leave me alone, I went. And bottom line, I've always been for the down and outer. And
Right.
well, I
here?
looked in.
Sugarland, or where'd you go?
I went out to Sugarland. Yeah, I went
Ramsey?
to one of those little units out there,
Okay.
Jester unit.
Okay.
And you know, I looked into those dudes' eyes, and I said, the difference between them and me, they got caught. And you know, they're great people inside prison. They just need hope and a
right.
chance, and coach them up that they are somebody special. And our ministry does a great job of doing that very thing.
So you do it for Texas Department of
I've been
Justice,
all over
or-
the country, parts of the world.
Okay. Is it Texas Department of Corrections or?
Yeah.
criminal
Yeah.
justice.
Yeah, and but I spend now most of my time here in Texas, because when I started full time 31 years ago, I retired from the NFL to go full time in prison ministry. Texas only had like 19 prisons, and today there's over 120.
Isn't that
And
incredible?
so it's just amazing. So I don't have to go all over the country anymore. It's so big here, and it's my first love anyway, that I'm really now focusing on right on our back door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you can educate me on this. How many prisons do we have in the Houston area? Because I know of the one in Sugarland, but is there others like
Well,
real close?
within
I
a
know of Huntsville.
50-mile radius,
I know of Huntsville, but
60-mile radius, there's about 30 or 40.
that many?
Wow.
More than any other city in the nation.
Yeah,
Did
by
not know that.
far. Yeah.
How about within the 610 loop?
Not within the 610 loop, but
Downtown jail.
you know, you got the Harris County Jail, which
Sure.
is it depends on who's counting the numbers. It's either the second or third largest jail in America.
Yeah.
And there'll be, you know, 10 to 11,000 there every day. And the deal is 60% of those faces change out every 4 or 5 days. They leave out, new come in. So when you look at it over a 12-month period, you know, it's a huge number of men and women that go in and out of the Harris County Jail.
If you want to look at the impact of our city, to kind of put it some numbers in perspective, in the stateside prisons of Texas, there's 160,000 men, women, and youth inside. In our city alone, here in Houston, the downtown jail, you see 165,000 go through there every single year of men, women, and youth. And we just have a believing, if we can save a soul, we can save a family. If we want to change our city, and we want to change the streets in our city, we believe it's not from the streets to the jail, but maybe it might be from the jail to the streets. And if we can reach them inside, we can get them connected to local churches and help that recovery process. Now we can really begin to change the families and the marriages and the men and the women and start getting education back. It's really the tag team of jail and street and church is a beautiful thing and a lot of our vision. But the Houston area is a huge need to go and reach the men and women that are inside jail and prison.
That's impressive.
You know, I tell you, Ben, I am so impressed with their whole operation, with the volunteers, people. You know, their praise and worship service. And I'm a Catholic. I'm Roman Catholic. I go to charismatics that are. I try to go every Sunday, but I always seem to end up for that 12 o'clock service just in time to hear Brandon preach. And Michael tell you, I said, you know what, Mike? I said, your boy, man, he's one heck of a preacher. Man, Mike looks me square in the face and goes, man, that boy don't know how to preach.
Yeah.
Hey,
But
we got to have fun, right?
You know, and
Yeah.
it's amazing when you go to a service and you hear the things you need to hear. That's something that's really bothering your soul, and you hear the thing. He said, you know, sometimes I'm asking, you know, I'm saying, Lord, how did Brandon know what I needed to hear today? And he says some of these things, and I know that
you were
has to be.
directing it towards him, weren't you?
I am looking straight at him. Yeah.
That sermon was for you.
But he really, I mean, some of the things he's come up with just amaze me, and I mean, it's such a loving place, my only regret, I know they're going to get so big one day they're going to have to leave us, and I hate that idea. But until then, I mean, it's a place to go. If you're looking for a church, it's a great place to be.
Just to give you a little story, I was going to work for the Department of Corrections as a GED teacher during the summers, because I was a teacher during the fall and spring.
Yeah.
And I had some time to kill in the summers. But I had a little conflict because I had some family members that were in there, and they wouldn't let me teach.
Right.
Yeah. So just by coincidence, I was not able to do what I wanted to do. But I always was fascinated because I used to live in Sugar Land, right by Ramsey. And you used to see people working the fields and actually the deputies or whatever, they're correctional officers on horseback with the rifles. And you could see it driving down Highway 6, and there was an airport close by there. I don't know if the Ramsey's still there or not, but I remember some water there. But just imagine people dressed up just like prisoners, chained up, literally, they were chained up, walking towards the field. I mean, that's a real vivid image that I have of Ramsey. Now, getting back, fast forwarding, I've always been curious about prison life. I have a lot of family members that have been in prison, and they tell me all kinds of stories. So I've always been curious about life in the prison system. Now, I will tell you that it's something that I wouldn't want to do. I wouldn't want to live there, but I would like to see. Is there an opportunity for us to go over there and see you preach over there?
Absolutely. We do a huge weekend, the second weekend of every year in Huntsville in the month of December. And we'll have anywhere from 800 to 1,200 inmates sitting in chairs, and you'd be more than welcome to just come as my special guest.
I would love to do that.
We have to get your information in advance, and just.
I don't know if I'll pass the criminal background check, but I'm
We'll pray about bringing
Let me just get them to get a hold of them finally.
Notice that I invited you. The buzzer would go off just like that.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Pat won't let him go anywhere.
No love.
Oh man,
everywhere.
Hey, that's
it
my
buzzes.
alias, okay, Mike? That's my alias there, right?
That thing on the neck, it buzzes whenever it gets about X number of miles from Pat.
But the media. Let's face it. They can put a bright light on you or an extremely dim light, and unfortunately, there's too much of a dim light of prison life, and prison's what you make out of it. Yeah, the prisons are full of great people that just need a break, somebody to believe in them, and give them a message of hope, a chance, a real chance, and that's why we have such a great time inside. We don't come in there spiritual. I'm not one to stand up, try to impress somebody how many scripture. We laugh and we cut up. We have a good time. I let them know, I want to introduce you to a God. He's a cool dude. He's the one that created laughter. He said, laughter doeth good like a medicine. And we every prison that we walk into, we impact way above 50% of the total population of any prison that we go into. And that's a big number. Now with my son's church, we're able to invite them to come to a church that will receive them
once they get out,
just where they are. When they get out, that they can come. They have nothing to be ashamed of, the way they're dressed, etc. And it's real neat for old Dad. I'm a big man, and I'm a man's man, but this dude here makes me cry a little tear every Sunday when I hear him preaching, and I'll many times look across the congregation and I'll catch that face that you can just tell by their countenance they're getting it.
Cool.
And to see that loved one change, and then here comes the family, and I wouldn't want him doing anything else in the whole wide world than what he's doing right now.
That's great.
You know what? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brandon.
I think a great story to show the cool thing about the tag team of this is that our very first Sunday as a church here in Houston. I'll never forget the very first salvation story that we had. I started off that week, and it was actually the young man's name was he was Carlos Jr., and he got saved inside the Harris County Jail right there in my service, church service. That very Sunday, he came to church and he brought his dad. His name was Carlos. And I'll never forget afterwards, he came up to me and his dad had tears in his eyes. And he said, "Thank you for bringing Jesus to my son inside jail." And then he started crying and he said, "Thank you for introducing Jesus to me today." He said, "Because last night I was about to commit suicide.
Wow.
But thank God I came today."
The dad
And I
was
realized it could save, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I realized they're going to say, but if you caught it though, if we hadn't been willing to go inside, the son would have never came to church, which he would have never brought the dad to church.
Sure.
And the family would have never been restored.
Yeah.
This is why we need these ministries, and this is why we need local churches in our house, in our city, a church of all people, but also accepting those that maybe not everybody else wants to accept.
Not to change the subject or anything, but I went to a new church this Sunday for the first time, St. Joseph Mariachi Mass, where they play nothing
The
but
one in
mariachis.
First Ward? Yeah.
The 6th Ward.
6th Ward, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, it was different. I'd never been to a mass where they play mariachis
I
throughout
remember my dad used to love that mass. We used to go there all the time in the 70s.
It's not like you're in church. It's like you're at a
dance, did
concert.
you?
You're at a concert.
Of course. You know, when you know Mexican hear music and not dance.
Yeah.
So I like to see different things. I'm not one to sit in a church and hear a sermon for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I'll start wanting to get up.
Yeah,
and
no.
do something.
So when your butt goes to sleep, your
Yeah.
head,
I
your
tell you,
brain
Dan,
shuts
they're-
off.
Start to finish, we're
they
an
have some
hour
great-
15 max.
They have some great musicians, some great, some of the voices that you hear. That young lady, I don't know what her name is, lady.
Her name
with
is
the
Joy.
Glasses. Oh, what a voice she
Our
has.
approach is you pack out stadiums, we pack out Toyota Center, we pack out Reliant for concerts and the rodeo, man. People come for a great experience. Why not bring that experience to church?
Yeah.
I
Why
don't
not
think you've
bring
heard
the
Javier
excitement?
sing, have you?
No, and I don't plan to. I mean, I got.
Javier in concert. I can see it on the headline of TBH right there.
Yeah,
Javier
I
in concert,
know.
today's mass.
You know, I know we're running out of time, Ben. I want to give them an opportunity to talk about what they spoke of in church yesterday.
Okay.
Over what's happened, you know, with the murder of the police officers and the victims of police violence. Also, you know, Brandon called me up and he said, you know, we need to do something special in church this week. And he wanted to run it by me. I said, Brandon, it's your church. I'm not a censor. You do it. What you feel you need to do. So, Brandon, why don't you tell us about the service we had yesterday, the Pray Houston. And that was a hashtag that was working.
Notice he said the sermon that we had.
I know.
He's taking ownership already of the church.
You know, it was, and I know that I know why he's saying that. He's saying because we set aside. This Sunday was not about Elevate Church. This Sunday was not about any certain church. This Sunday was about everybody coming together, no matter your race, your background, or anything. We have a hashtag. You can get on any social media network, and it's hashtag Houston Praise.
Houston Praise.
Prays. Yeah, Houston Praise. You know, I believe that what's happened over these last week is probably the largest thing that's hit our country since 9/11. And I believe it's a big deal. And I believe that the local church is the hope of the world. And whenever things happen, the local church needs to rise up and say, hey, we extend love. The only way you can defeat something is with the opposite spirit. The only way you can defeat hate is with love. And so not coming at this thing, and I just looked at our church, and I would look at anybody here, I would just say, I looked at it and I was like, I understand, if you couldn't tell, I'm white. You know, it's like, I mean, I'm a white, I get that. And we lead a multiracial church, and a church of all colors, and there's a lot of African Americans in our church as well. And I was just honest, and I'll be honest to anybody listening here today, that I realize I'm white, and I accept and I acknowledge that I'll never understand what it means to be African American, or understand what it means to be Hispanic. I'll never understand what it means to be racially profiled. But if I'm willing to have put my walls down, put down any hate, put down any racism, if I'm willing to sit down and be willing to gain information from my brothers and sisters, have a conversation, that information will give me a revelation on my journey to understanding what we're all going through. And I think we just need to put it down. You know, if we're praying a bunch of separate prayers, we can't make a difference. But if we're all praying the same prayer and we're all going after the same cause, then we can come together and we can save our nation and we can save our city. And the whole idea of Houston Praise was simply we came together, we prayed for our nation, we prayed for our leadership, we prayed for the leadership of our country, the leadership of our city, because it's about coming together. That's the only way we're going to win. We celebrated freedom And then all of a sudden now disunity took place. Don't fight justice from injustice. We don't like it all, but hate is not the response of love. Love people where they are, and let's come together and let's save our nation. And the Bible says that he'll do it.
You know, our great coach, Bum Phillips, beginning of every season, the very beginning, he'd always tell us the same thing. Today, we build a team into a family.
That's right.
Until we become a family, will we really win when nobody expects us to win?
That's right.
And our city, our state, and overall, we have to become a family.
I agree.
We don't look at the outside of the shell. And I was the world's worst the way I was brought up, racism. But thank God I've been delivered of that. But you know, it's time that we become a family.
That's right.
Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time.
I tell you, we'd love to have you guys back.
Be
You
honored.
know,
Anytime.
and Brandon, I think you're doing some fantastic things.
Thank you.
Over to Elevate, and let's give them a plug. They're at 333 South Jensen Drive.
That's it.
At the
Website.
TBH Center. every
10 and
Sunday.
12.
10 and 12. Website
So,
is elevatepeople.tv.
I'm going to be there this Sunday. I want to check
Come
you
on,
out.
man.
I'll
Be
bring
honored.
my family,
Be honored.
and hopefully this guy's not there.
I'll be
Well,
there.
if we
in
want to
the
get anything done.
We go for about an hour and 15, 20 minutes of service.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
It's a lot of energy. I mean, just imagine coming to church like a concert.
And,
I mean,
you know,
but-
and they
but it's
got, I don't
fun.
know whoever makes your coffee, but whoever makes your coffee does a great job.
Yeah.
That stuff is good.
Yeah.
Great coffee in the morning. Yeah,
We have a
absolutely.
good time.
Well, my
Great
wife
volunteers.
likes coffee, so that's a good thing.
thank you. We're very honored to be here,
we are.
and we'd be happy to come back.
You know what?
anytime.
And Elevate and Mike, Brandon, have become staples of the East End. The church offices in the East End on Commerce, right?
Yep.
And they're just a few blocks down every Sunday at TBH Center, so it's going to be great having them.
Bring your
You know,
families
they're
out.
they're becoming a
Love it.
staple of the East End. You know,
Yep.
so we're
So
glad to have you guys.
I'm going to take you up on that December offer. I'm serious about that.
Yeah.
Going to
Okay.
the prisons and checking it out. So any last comment?
Man, it's great. I tell you, Houston Oilers #1.
Come on.
That's it.
That's it.
So when we come back, we're going to talk to the legend, Jumpin' Jess. Everybody knows Jumpin' Jess here in Houston's East End especially.
Yeah.
So we'll give us 2 minutes when we be right back. Hopefully we'll have the Love You Blue song when we go on intermission.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back. back to Latino Talk TV. I'm your host, Ben Mendez, joined by my co-host, Mr. Javier Perez. And now we get to talk to the legend from the East End, Mr. Jumpin' Jess is in the house. Thank you, Jess, for joining us.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Javier.
And you brought your sidekick, James Soria.
Well, he's not my sidekick. New leadership, Ben, like you say, new leadership.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the Rusk Athletic Club. They're doing some great things, and they have a fundraiser coming up. I'm assuming it's going to be a big blowout like it was last year.
Oh, it's always a big blowout, Ben. You know that.
Okay, so tell our viewers a little bit about it first. Give us a little history.
Well, it's the 67th annual. It's the second longest fast pitch tournament in the nation. It brings world-class athletes to Houston, to Memorial Park, and brings in members of different national teams, Team USA, Czech Republic national team, Mexico's national team, Venezuela's national team. We have players here, and so through the years, many teams have brought top pitching and top players from different countries, and so this year's no different. And what's happened is it's grown from what it used to be back when we started, not when I was around, but back in 1949. Year before, y'all had former council member Fraga here who talked about the history. But many years ago in the Second Ward and in the Hispanic community, Latino community, they weren't given the opportunity to play on the same level as some of other races or other nationalities. And so as time progressed in the 70s, it got moved over to Memorial Park. And now we're taking up all 5 fields. And we've now included 18 and under girls into our division. So there's three divisions, 18 and under girls, masters, these are 40 and over men, and then open division, which brings these world-class athletes. They're in there throwing that ball pretty hard. So it's a lot of fun to watch. It's a fast-paced game.
Man, Jess invited me over there a couple of years ago after me and Jess really became good friends. And I go over there and I'm watching the Masters division. And I'm watching all these guys, man. They got the beer bellies out there, and man, they're going out there just like if you see a MLB star going out there, and he's getting ready to hit, and get the neck, and then he got this big old beer belly. Are you kidding me? And then the guy's surprised when he strikes out. But it's a great event. Actually, a lot of these masters are the master division. Some of these guys are some serious athletes. They're still doing it. They're still doing it. They're 40 or
45 and over.
In the 50s,
40
right?
and over. Yeah,
40 and over.
I don't qualify.
Oh man, I tell you.
Well, we'll put you in the legends. That's 60 and over, man.
But it's very enjoyable to sit and watch these games, man. I went over there. I had a really, really good time watching it. Hot as all get out, but it was very, very competitive. Fast pitch softball.
And you get to see a lot of old friends. I mean, I know you ran into some people you probably see all the time. And Friday nights are opening. We have the Legends game. We got a girls game. We got the open game. We got about 3. We're gonna line up with 3 or 4 games that day.
We had 3 games that day, including in addition to the Legends game. So it's a total of 4 games on Friday night. We start off on Friday at about 4 o'clock with the girls division. Then we're going to do the Legends game, and then we'll do our opening ceremonies, and then we go into the Masters division, the opening game, and then the Open division. So it's 4.5, 5 hours of action-packed fast pitch softball at world-class level.
What time does it start?
4 o'clock p.m. Friday.
4
this
p.m.
Friday.
Until 10.
Now, but you have different games and different divisions going on, right?
Right, yeah. But that's our opening night, and it's Friday night, Memorial #1, and that's the night that everybody comes out because it's nice and cool, and everybody gets to see everybody. We do, our opening. We're going to have Heliodoro Martinez throw out the first pitch. We've had a lot of big stars come out and throw. We've had mayors, we've had state senators, and Carol's been out there before. And
he's never asked any of us to throw out first pitch, Ben. You know that, right?
Yeah. Well, when you get elected,
we got Boogeyman. Boogeyman's been there, I'm sure.
I remember Boogeyman going out one or two.
We had the guy up in the press box.
We had to throw him out.
I know we can throw better than Kanye. Better than Kanye, okay?
Exactly.
No, but we got a lot of history. There's so much to talk about. The thing about it is that Mexican Americans were one of the foremost people to regards to Raza to support fast pitch softball. It's died in its years. I mean, when I was tournament director, now my cousin took over, and now James taking it. We had over 38 teams at one time, and these were all Mexican American teams from a lot of them from San Antonio, Austin, Baytown, Beeville, Beaumont, Port Arthur. We had teams from Corpus in the Valley, El Paso, and we've had them from Kansas City, Phoenix, Arizona, and that's when the years was huge. And fast pitch has always been, but pitching is hard to come by. And there was a period where we were really losing teams and things were going down. So what we did, ours used to be first of all, it was a Pan American tournament. Then it became a Latin American tournament. Then it became Mexican American tournament. And then what we did is that just to open it up, we became Latin. So we took people in from South America, Mexico. We always had people from Mexico, but opened up to more South American teams. And now, because of the fact that fast pitch is a dying sport, we've opened it up to everybody. So you can be white, black, or whatever now and playing the tournament, where people before always died to get in there and change their birth certificate, gets to change their names to play. And then we did open it up to Indians. We let them, because there's some Indians up there in what is it, by Huntsville, right?
Livingston.
So
Like American Indians?
American Indians, Native American Indians.
Yeah, playing fast pitch softball.
We invited them this year to come, but they have their state championship going on, that they have their own Indian leagues, and it's up in Oklahoma this year. But they saw what some of the tournaments, there's a little circuit of tournaments that go on in San Antonio, Austin. They used to have them in Brownsville. Now, there's two in Houston. It's Father's Day weekend, and then ours, we call it the granddaddy of them all, because everybody wants to play with referred to as the Latin. And I was on the way over here, and I'm hearing stories or seeing stories on Facebook of different teams outbidding each other for pitching. And it gets...
They pay the pitchers?
They pay the pitchers to come in.
And players.
And players.
And they fly them in.
They fly them in,
I'm available, by the way.
I mean, I've heard that some teams pay up to $50,000 for a whole weekend.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Just to win the tournament.
It's a prestigious tournament, and it's a pride thing to be called the champions of the Latin among all softball players. Even now throughout the world, it's a pride thing, and these players, they brag about it. Yeah, we won. You've got the Baytown Hawks, and you've had Houston 9, you have Houston Apaches, or the Misfits as they go under now.
Baytown Hawks,
and these teams they've won it numerous times.
I think we can play for the Misfits.
They fit right in, huh?
Yeah, right.
Well, we have two teams, that are called the Misfits, and you know what? Perfect mascot for the guys that are on that team too. So,
and the thing about it, I'm sure with that motion they do with the underhand fast pitch motion, you get more of your arm into it. So these guys throw consistently 90, 100 miles an hour.
Equivalent to it. On a radar, it shows about 70, 75. Even if they're hitting 80, then that's the equivalent about a major league pitcher throwing 100, 105, 110 miles an hour. Now, you got to take into consideration, a major league pitcher is, they're a lot further back. They're 60 feet away. Yeah. However, here in softball, you're only 46 feet away. Yeah. And by the time they release the ball, and some of these guys 6'2", 6'3", you're talking about 35 feet away from you, and it's coming. You have split second to close your eyes and swing the bat and hope you make contact.
And a lot of times they got a wicked curve.
They have all kind of pitches. They have curves, they have risers, they have sliders, they have knuckleballs. You name it, they have it. But the several top pitchers, like I mentioned, Ramon Jones from Venezuela. Everybody keeps their cards close to their chest and don't want to reveal, but we find out he's coming in. Team USA, a guy by the name of Tony Mancha out of Las Cruces, New Mexico. He's coming into play, and he's been here for about 4 or 5 years in a row. He was 2014 male pitcher of the year for Team USA for United States. He represented.
Don't forget Javier Perez.
Yeah, right.
That's a catcher.
Oh, real slow pitch. I play slow pitch.
These guys are world class athletes. These guys have traveled and they play the circuit. As a matter of fact, they were in Wisconsin this past weekend playing. A lot of those players, they come play in our tournament. They may not play with their regular teams, but they know about the tournament. These are all the Texas boys.
Didn't the Venezuelan team win last year?
No, that was the year you were there. We were just talking about Lucas Mata. He was pitching. That's what I was telling you
They're
about.
From Argentina.
Argentina, yeah.
You have Lucas Mata. You have also a couple of guys, Juan Potoliquio, and Lucas has a son now that's just as good that throws. And I think the last time they were in was with Baytown Hawks, and they won the championship. I wasn't here. Unfortunately, I had to travel out of country for work. But to hear the stories, and you hear, you know, even to this day, I received a phone call from a gentleman out of Austin. Hey, you know what? So-and-so coming in? Yes. Well, I'm going to be there. I want to root for a team from Austin. You know, I want to root for a team. You know, not that we want to publicize it, but they have side bets going on games up in the stands, and that's a lot of fun.
You know what, Ben, Jess? Is there a website where people can kind of keep up with the games that are up?
We have our Facebook page, which is going to be and everybody's always says Rusk Athletic Club. Facebook.com/Rusk Athletic Club. You can get it on there, and it has pictures and ideas. He's got the bracket on there. And just to let you know, thanks to HMS and our involvement last year, they brought cameras out there and they filmed the championship game. And then they told us at the last minute they were streaming it, so they were able to stream it off there, so you can get it live. And we hit, you know, we didn't think nobody's going to. We hit about 200 people who were watching the tournament from the championship game from Memorial Park, and they're coming out this year again too.
Did they have announcers, or they were just
no, we were the now James. We have a DVD. I brought it here. He wasn't able to get it on though, but we'll probably show it in another show. But he's got the DVD right now. I think he's going to play it. Oh, he said take a break. All right, we're going to show the poster up here. We got a poster that's on Facebook also. But you know, the thing of the matter is about the tournament is that it has such a great history with you know, Felix Fraga, Lupe Fraga, Champ Fraga, Angel Fraga. That when they were young, in their 18 to 25, they were playing in the tournament. And I was a young boy watching these guys. My dad played in the tournament. My uncle played in the tournament. James was playing back in the tournament. Boogeyman was playing in the tournament. Believe it, these people that grew up in the neighborhood. I had a boys team and that I coached. I wasn't much of an athlete, but I did umpire. I did help run the tournament. My dad got me involved and said, hey, you need to help these people. So, I mean, I had a PE background, so I was turning around and I was keeping score, and then later on I became tournament director and then president, and so that's my involvement. I stepped away for a while, then a new blood came in there. So
I was even told that Boogie tried to get a pair of Stacy's and put the metal spikes on the bottom.
He said he did.
He said he did. I was like, man, you're on north side, man. You're on north side.
He was the only one playing with Stacy's. He had the cleats in there, man.
There's all kind of stories.
Oh, man.
And the most beautiful thing about this tournament, all the proceeds that we do from this tournament go to scholarships. We educate kids that are going to continue their education on in college. Matter of fact, yesterday I contacted, we're awarding some new recipients. And they're excited. They're like, wow, you know, that's really good. And it makes you feel good. Yeah, it's hot. It's 3 days of labor, of sweat, and a lot of efforts by a whole lot of people. And at the end of the day, what we stand for is educating our future. And that's the best thing. That's what I like about it. And, you know, that you can't ask for a better thing.
You know, one good story I could tell is that giving a scholarship, we had some young boys that got, you know, some college scholarships to play ball and some junior college and some girls playing softball. But they tell us if it wasn't for the $500 that we gave them, they wouldn't be able to go because they paid for their books. That made the difference with them to go or not go. So it's not a lot, but it was just enough to get them to go to school. And I mean, when you hear stories like that, man, makes you, you know, want to cry, makes you want to laugh and smile. It's beautiful, a lot of beautiful stories.
So how many people total in this tournament that are actually participating and playing?
Well, each team carries a roster of 20, and we've got 28 teams this year.
Okay.
So we're talking close to 500-600, you know, total. Yep. So
yeah, that's a big roster.
You didn't miss class that day.
Hey,
he was a math professor.
math teacher. That's great.
Yeah, and that's just players, coaches, and then, you know, we appreciate the sponsors, all the sponsors that are out there. You know, they sponsor the teams, they sponsor, you know, they travel. A lot of these players, you know, there's not a lot of players here from Houston, you know, and but like as Jesse said, we have Port Arthur, you have Brownsville, you have them come from San Antonio, Austin, all over Texas. And
big fans in Baytown too.
Baytown.
They're huge fans.
Huge, and we have 3 Baytown teams this year.
And they have a legacy in Baytown, you know, where they had a team in a small town. They used to have their own tournament, and then they built a winning team with the Baytown Hawks. So everybody wanted to have their own teams, and now Baytown, huge softball community, huge softball, and you know, and they bring the fans out. People, it's not a good tournament without Baytown.
Exactly. I mean, you get Baytown on one side, and you have a Houston team, and man, they're going at it in the stands.
You know what?
It's a lot of fun to watch.
I tell you guys, it was so enjoyable. Sit there. I took my lawn chair, And my lawn chair, I got a little table next to it. Right? So I got my drink, I got my hot dog, I got my popcorn. I'm sitting with my sunglasses, and I'm just sitting back enjoying the game. It was really, really a lot of fun.
You're fitting right in with everybody else who goes
man,
out
it was
there.
so good.
And they'll sit out there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday during championship games, and they're sitting there with their coolers, and they're enjoying the game, and they're back and forth, and there's everybody screaming, hollering, and having a good time.
Great hot dog, great hamburgers. Oh, man, the concession stand is first rate.
And let me tell you another thing, stories that the generations, like Nacho Hernandez, he's one of on our board, but he was a player, and then became a coach, and then became a sponsor through his company and giving back, and he's really helped. When the tournament was going down, he gave back, gave out his own money and time to keeping it up. Now it's kind of self-sufficient on his own, but now his grandson is playing in the tournament, and last year he was in the championship game, hit an inside the park home run.
Wow. I think they bought about 10 of those CDs already. Handed them to every one of their kids out there. Yeah.
But that's the good things about it. Then my dad got me involved, and I'm involved. Now my daughter Maricela, she's running it. She's doing the program. She's keeping score. She's selling T-shirts, and now she's on the scholarship committee, giving out scholarships.
Yeah, we've got, and the beautiful thing about this is our club, Rusk Athletic Club. It's about volunteering, giving back to the community, and working. We start working in November of previous year just to get ready for this tournament. Because
by the way, kudos to you for getting involved with Austin High School.
I appreciate that.
And your son also. Your son is a coach, assistant to Robin Kirk over there.
Exactly, and that comes after the tournament. That's next, the football season. So,
but it helps each other. Like you said, they're going to be running the concession stand this year.
Austin High School.
Austin High School runs the concession
athletic program.
So go by there and buy a hot dog. You're helping out the sports program.
Help them out. Yeah, they have a great need over there with the equipment and their facilities, and so we help out, giving back to the nonprofits, whether it's Little League or high schools or whatever. We go back and we help in any way we can, and that's what we're about. And it's very fulfilling, all the efforts that are put forth. And then in October we come back and do a golf tournament. So we do fast pitch softball and we do golf in the fall. It's a little bit cooler.
Yeah.
Not to change the subject or anything, but I did want to give kudos to Steve and Sarah Guerrero, the principal at Austin High School. Had a baby today.
Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations to
Baby
them.
boy.
He's
Yeah.
a good man,
Boy.
good man.
Yeah.
And you're making a good little statement about the graduates over there. Who's talking about that?
Yeah, I was told that last year they had 60 kids apply for college, and this past year they had 600. That's progress.
Wow.
That's a significant jump. That's our people. Those are our kids from our community that are going on and educating their, themselves to come help their families come back and give to the community.
Absolutely. Let's go over. We only have a little bit of time left. Let's go over the schedule again.
Go ahead.
So
Give them the
Friday
dates.
night. Let's tell them.
Friday night?
Friday night sounds like if you're going to go, that's
That's
the
tonight.
time to be.
July 15th.
Yes.
Okay, that's this coming Friday night.
This coming Friday. We start at 4 o'clock. Field number 1. It's right next to St. Teresa's, just past the golf course. 4 o'clock p.m. Girls 18 and under. We also have the Legends game at 5:30. At 6:30, we have opening ceremonies. 7 o'clock, the Masters Division opening game. And at 8:30, the Open Division opening game. We'll go to about 10:30 or until they turn the lights off on us. Yeah. We invite everyone to come out.
And then it goes Saturday, and then Sunday we have
Friday,
the
it's
Hall of
just
Fame.
at number 1 park,
Right.
number 1 field.
Right. And then Saturday, all fields, starting at 8 o'clock all the way to that evening. And then Sunday, we start up at 8 o'clock again. And we go to about 6 o'clock. But we have a Hall of Fame ceremony that we induct Hall of Famers who have participated in this tournament. And we put them into our Hall of Fame, starting at 3 o'clock, field number 1.
And number 1. So.
Well, thank you for coming out. We've run out of time.
Appreciate
I'm sure
it.
we'll see you this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, correct?
That's right.
What time championship game Sunday? Quick.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock
o'clock.
championship game. All right, so we'll see you next week. Again, it's live television every Monday night at 6 p.m., so we'll be here next week. We'll see you later. Ciao.
Good night.